What's up, sports bettors? My name is Matt Modi. I'm a content producer and betting analyst for OddsJam. And for this video, I'm going to be talking to you about positive EV betting. What is a positive expected value bet? What does it mean? And why is it so profitable? And how can you make a ton of money positive expected value betting? So let's get into it. Before I get started, just want to highlight you can hit me up at my Twitter handle below. You see it right here, Modi_Matt. Very boring, my last name underscore first name. Also, would appreciate if you could like and comment on the video, provide your feedback. Just want to make sure that this is the content that you guys like and what I can do to better it moving forward. And lastly, if you could subscribe to the OddsJam YouTube channel. We have a ton of helpful betting content, betting education, betting advice for you on the OddsJam YouTube channel. So hit that subscribe button. And now let's get into it. So let me first get started with just the definition of what expected value is. And hopefully this isn't too complicated. But if it is, just let me know. Hit me up, contact@oddsjam.com, and we'll get you all squared away. But expected value is essentially when there is a difference in the outcome, expectations of an outcome of an event based on what the sports bettor thinks versus the same bet, the expectations of what the sports book thinks. So whenever there is a difference in expectation, there's going to be inherently some sort of difference in expected value. When yourself as the sports bettor thinks that there is a more favorable outcome than the sports book does, that is an example of a positive expected value bet. Conversely, when the sports book thinks a bet has a better chance of occurring than you do, that is a negative expected value bet. So to use an example, let's just pretend using flat numbers, I think that there is a 55% chance of a bet hitting. The sportsbook only thinks that bet has a 50% chance of hitting. That 5% difference is going to be a 5% in positive expected value. I think there's a 55% chance. The sportsbook thinks there's only a 50% chance. So if I place that bet, I get a 5% positive expected value. Conversely, the opposite is true. If I only thought that bet had a 45% chance of hitting, then that 5% between 45 and 50% is going to be a negative expected value bet. So obviously, when you're sports betting, the goal is to only bet on outcomes in which you have a positive expected value associated with those outcomes. And that's exactly what the OddsJam software provides for you. And here's what you need to understand about sports betting. Every single book is a sports book is going to have a different way in which they price odds based on their own algorithms, based on how they receive money versus another sports book. They're going to be priced differently depending on the book. In the screen you see here is an exact example of that. FanDuel prices the 76ers money line at plus 270. DraftKings places the money line at plus 280. Based on their own individual proprietary software and algorithms and models, they came out to two different prices. And that's how positive expected value works. It only works because sportsbooks have different ways of pricing outcomes, of pricing markets. And the OddsJam line you see here, this is what we call the OddsJam perfect line. This is pulled from the sharpest bookmaker in the world. And these are going to be the most accurate prices, the most accurate odds in which a market should be priced. So if we go back to the OddsJam positive expected value page, we see this OddsJam column here, and these odds are going to be solely what the OddsJam perfect line prices each individual market. So it's important when you're looking at the OddsJam page to understand what the OddsJam line is and then go from there. But an incredibly important concept to understand when it comes to positive expected value betting is the VIG, or also known as juice, or the official term is vigorish. The VIG is essentially the way sportsbooks make their money. So what sportsbooks don't do is they don't charge a transaction fee for actually placing a bet. Instead, what they do is they charge a VIG or juice to the odds themselves and make their profit that way. Let me explain. And what I have up here is just a sports book to detail this concept exactly. And as you see, they're just a normal NBA game, a normal spread, 7.5 plus 7.5 to the Sixers, minus 7.5 to the Heat. So essentially, Caesars Sportsbook deems that the Heat should be 7.5 point favorites here. So if the Heat win by 8 or more, they would have covered the spread. If the Sixers either lose by 7 or less, 7 or fewer, or they win the game, then the Sixers side would win. But as we can see, the odds are priced at minus 110 each way. So what that means is if I bet $100 on the Sixers, my profit would be roughly $90. So you risk 100 to win 90. The other side of that, the Heat are also minus 110 odds. So if I bet $100 on the Heat, or if someone else bets $100 on the Heat, it's the same thing. Risk 100, win 90. So essentially what the sportsbook is doing is they are accepting two sports bettors bet 100 on each side. They're accepting $200 in risk, but they're only going to have to pay out 190 based on the winner. So if let's say I place the Sixers bet, they win or they lose by 7 or fewer, I get my $100 back in my risk, and I also get my $90 in profit, $190. The sportsbook makes $200 in that case. They get my risk and the other bettor's risk, so they profit $10. So every $100 bettor on each side of this spread, on each side of this total, on this spread and this total, the sportsbook makes $10. So you multiply that $10 by hundreds and thousands of bets being placed on both sides for hundreds of millions of dollars, and you start to see why sportsbooks make so much money. So that is essentially the juice or the vig. What's important to do as a sports bettor is understand what the no vig true odds are for a market. So that way you know what the no juice, the no vig, the fair odds are for this specific market. The way you do that is very easy. You just go to oddsjam.com, calculators, no vig, fair odds calculator. So for this example, it's minus 110 on each side, minus 110, minus 110. Means that this is essentially a 50-50 plus 100 bet. The sports books basically say, we don't know who we think is going to actually win the 7.5 point spreads. We're just going to price it at 50-50. So the true line of this should really be 50-50. You also see that here with the no vig percentage. This is essentially the win percentage. So what the OddsJam positive expected value page does is it removes the vig based on the OddsJam perfect line, and it provides situations in which you are getting better odds on another sportsbook. So let's just look at this first one here. It's a player prop, Max Strus in the Heat Sixers game. The over 12.5 points, as you can see here, is priced at minus 137. So let's enter that in here, minus 137. The other side of it, the under, is priced at plus 103. So we'll type that in here, plus 103. So as we can see, the no vig fair odds for this market should, based on the OddsJam perfect line, which again is the sharpest line in the world, should really be priced at essentially minus 117, minus 118. So for the over point total, anywhere in which we're getting minus 117 odds or lower is going to be a positive expected value bet. Same concept, but the opposite, the under. Anything in which you are essentially getting plus 118 odds or higher, that is going to be a positive expected value bet. So for this one here, we are getting plus 100 odds on BetMGM. Again, that is more favorable odds than minus 117. So that is why this specific bet has positive expected value associated with it. The OddsJam perfect line, which is the sharpest line in the world, gives this bet roughly a 54% chance of hitting, prices the true line of this at minus 117, and we are getting it at plus 100, which again, we already learned a plus 100 bet is roughly a 50-50 chance of hitting. So we're making that 4% difference in terms of the outcome what the sportsbook thinks based on the outcome of what we think, which gives that bet positive expected value. So I have a bet here, Reggie Bullock over 2.5 3-pointers, that I think is a really good bet that I'm actually going to lock in. I have DraftKings up here, and I'll explain exactly why. So the OddsJam Perfect line prices the over 2.5 made 3-pointers. We know that this is the bet that has positive EV because you see it's bolded based on the actual text is bolded, is priced at minus 109. The other side of that is priced at minus 122. So if we put in both sides, minus 109, minus 122, puts the true line of this bet at roughly plus 105 odds. And using the OddsJam positive expected value page, we see that I can get this on DraftKings at plus 120 odds. But before I place it, I want to see where every other book prices this to see if I'm truly getting a good positive expected value bet. So now I'm just on the odds screen, which posts where every book prices odds. And I see that every other book roughly has this plus 100, plus 110. OddsJam Perfect Line has it at minus 109. BetMGM has it pretty much the same that the OddsJam line has, minus 110. Every other book has it significantly or decently below this plus 120 odds, which signifies to me that it is a very profitable bet to take. So I'm going to go on DraftKings. I'm going to go to Reggie Bullock over 2.5 made 3-pointers. I'm going to go ahead and lock this bet in. That bet, I think, has a lot of value. And again, we know this because the true line, which we calculated, was at plus 105, and we got it at plus 120 on DraftKings. So now what I need to do is just add this to my bet tracker. All you need to do that, it's very easy. You just click this plus button. This little sheet pops up that you can actually add it. So you just put in the amount that you bet, which is what I did. You click save, and now it gets added to the OddsJam bet tracker. This bet tracker is completely free to use. And as a sports bettor, it's incredibly important to understand whether you're profitable or not. For me, I've been using OddsJam since about the middle of September. I'm up almost 12K in profit. Majority of that is with positive expected value betting, doing the strategy that I just detailed. You go to the OddsJam Positive EV page, you find a bet, is a good bet that you might like, you click into it, and then you find out whether you're getting a pricing discrepancy or not. So I put 100 on this Reggie Bullock over 2.5 3-pointers. I calculated the no vig fair odds, again, plus 105. The DraftKings line had it at plus 120, which gave this bet positive expected value. And I also compared it to other sports books, which made me think that it was a really valuable bet. So I locked it in. And that's how you can identify positive expected value bets and why they are so valuable. Essentially, what you're doing is you're using the OddsJam Perfect line to come up with the quote-unquote true line, that most accurate line of what pricing should be. And you're just finding examples in which you're getting more favorable odds on another sports book. Not every single bet is going to win. Not every single day you're going to make money. But over time, if you're continually placing positive expected value bets, you will see your profit margin start to increase, and it'll just compound and compound over time. That's why I'm such a huge fan of positive expected value betting. That's why I recommend everybody at least sign up for a 7-day free trial on the OddsJam website. Get started with the positive expected value betting. Use the OddsJam Positive EV page and use the concepts talked about in this video and other videos on the OddsJam YouTube channel. Hopefully you've subscribed by now. If not, definitely click that subscribe button. And you will use the concepts talked about in these videos to become a profitable sports bettor. The main goal is just to start off positive EV betting, and you will see your profits go from there. So like I said at the beginning, would appreciate if you could like and comment on the video. Let me know what you thought, what I could do better next time. I mentioned it again. Subscribe to the OddsJam YouTube channel. It'll be very beneficial to yourself as a sports bettor. But as far as this video goes, that is all I got for you. So thanks for watching, and have a good one.